Welcome back to Crit and Crit. I'm Axion,
I'm Scint.
and we're about to be killed by a robot with a chainsaw. Oh no. Welcome back to Undertale and our discussion of Mariel of Redwall by Brian Jacques.
Okay, Alphys, good luck here. Oh, that seems to work. Isn't it nice when you can actually control your killer robots?
Usually.
It's so silly.
It is, and it just gets sillier.
Oh, I know. So, yeah. One of the major themes that comes up a lot, I believe, in the Redwall series, is, power dynamics.
So I presume you have a specific dynamic in mind.
Kind of. Basically, well, I have a couple. What makes you a good leader? And what is appropriate use of power? Is he throwing popcorn at? Yep.
And that's sugar, I believe. Or flour.
Might have been salt, because if it's kernels, then popped popcorn and then salt, it would make more sense. Who puts sugar on popcorn unless you're making caramel corn?
Fair point.
Oh, maybe kettle corn. Kettle corn's kind of sweet, but...
Look, it's Mettaton. He's just being weird.
But yeah, anyway. Redwall. What is appropriate use of power? And what is an appropriate power dynamic between characters?
Oh, you are such a strange robot.
So, this comes up in multiple facets over the course of the series, and honestly just over the course of this book alone. We have a few characters who are ostensibly in figures of authority or power over other characters. But what is the line between legitimate authority and out-and-out tyranny? And depending on the character, that line's going to look a little different. Like, in some cases, it's as silly as the Dibbins do not like being told that they have to go take baths and can't do all this stuff and get spanked for no reason. Even though it's like, no, you're being brats and you need to stop it.
You're being standard children.
Yeah, you're being standard children, and therefore anything that tells you no is perceived as tyranny because you're like 4 and you don't actually know the difference.
And admittedly, this story is a little outdated in that it's working with older ideas of what's acceptable for how you discipline children. But
yep,
moving beyond that.
I mean, yeah, this book's like 32.
Good grief. That's almost as old as us.
Yep. So, yeah, you have like the minor examples of authority toward the children and, other people in your care. So you are necessarily the authority who is there to take care of them and make sure that no undue harm comes to them. And you can probably be a lot more, lax with this sort of thing because, well, there's not a whole lot in the way of stakes with how you interact. Like, you get in a disagreement, the stake is just you get in a disagreement and have to talk it through. Now, compare this to, say, Lord Ronblade, who is the Badger Lord of Salamandastron, the commander of the Hare Long Patrol, despite being a Badger. But yeah. So, he is in an actual position of authority over other adults. And there's a lot more at stake there. Like, if you get into a disagreement with your army commander, it's not just, okay, we've had some feelings and have to go hash this out. There's a lot more at stake there, because if you disagree, like, in the middle of a battle, you can legitimately get people killed, up to and including yourself.
Yep.
Or, a little bit more worrying in the case of Ronblade, if you disagree with him when he happens to be having a blood rage, we can talk about that later, but it would not go well.
Yeah. But when he's not in the middle of a frenzy, he's typically a reasonable authority figure.
Thanks, Alphys.
Yeah.
Yep, he's a reasonable authority figure, especially in comparison to some of the other figures we've met. On a more minor scale, there's Packatug, who is just like a hobo, that you want to say? Like, just lives out in the woods, does his own thing, but the instant he is given the authority over Mariel, aka Storm at the time, he treats her like utter garbage because he can. He doesn't want to be saddled with her, and he's acting out in any way he can. So, great power dynamic there.
Ah, I thought I had it.
And I do not remember how any of these puzzles work. It's been so long. Then you have the actual Hares of the Long Patrol, Clary, Time, and Rosie. I believe Clary is in charge of them.
Yes.
And is also a reasonable authority figure. Will not ask more of the others than he demands of himself, so, always a good sign with your leadership, and is committed to duty to the point where he will sacrifice himself for a higher calling. I avoided the saying that would let you, meme on me, but I imagine you'll say it anyway.
The greater good.
Yep, there we go. So he does his best to help with the Redwall situation, helping defend the Abbey and helping free the Ore Slaves. The latter is actually what cost him his life. But he does not lead unsuspecting comrades into battle. They know exactly what they're going into. And they do their best to keep a calm head while doing it so as not to cause undue panic. Of course, we have the Abbot of Redwall and, just, I am a good person who does good things and goody good, good, good.
Yep.
Yay. So yeah, our abbot is pretty much our cornerstone of benevolent leadership in that regard. But we also have a couple others. Joseph, for example, sets up a rebellion and becomes an authority figure in that regard. Mariel remembers him very fondly as, a father figure and a source of comfort and wisdom. And he does a good job of organizing his resistance and running it fairly, and basically rules through the mutual respect he has gained and shows in return to others. So, of course, people are willing to fight for him. It's not just that they want to go stab Gabool in the face. They respect Joseph.
Yep.
And then we have Gabool, who is our generic psycho pirate who has gone crazy and hallucinated over a bell and casually kills his underlings because reasons. Sometimes there's a reason, sometimes he thinks there might have been a reason if you squint a little bit. So, ruling through fear versus respect. And I guess that's the main power dynamic that you see repeated throughout the Redwall franchise. The good characters will lead through respect. The bad characters will not. And now, in reality, we know it's a lot more nuanced than that, because you can respect somebody and still consider them to be a poor leader. But that doesn't really seem to be the case when it comes to figures of authority in Redwall. If they're a good leader, they will respect those subordinate to them, and if they're a bad leader, they will not. And it's kind of as simple as that. Even, like, showing regard for their underlings tends to be, oh yes, this one is useful, rather than this is a good person who does good things, or competent person who does competent things. So, I mean, it's not really a bad lesson for kids to know that if people only follow you out of fear, they're not really following you. And you should be kind to people. So I can't really argue with it too much, though I am just, again, acknowledging it's far more simplistic than reality would reflect.
So you end up with a very, for lack of a better word, simplistic, which is par for the course with Jacques, because as we said a lot back in the original Redwall review, Jacques is writing for young children with the expectation of keeping the concepts that he's delving into deliberately simple. He's not looking to make a particularly complex reflection on reality, really. Why do they keep putting me in black rooms where I can't see? Oh. So, you end up with these very simplistic, very black and white depictions of people in positions of power where either they are good, worthy, or they are absolutely tyrannical, domineering, and in the case of Gabul, absolutely lunatic, paranoid. Everything is just wrong with the way that their leadership works because they're a villain. And it ends up with that kind of very one-sided, two-sided depiction where
It's so weird seeing the fight thing during a pacifist run.
yeah. Ah. Got it. But yeah, I think I've kind of... run myself out on that one. I don't really have much more to say on...
Same. So, probably a good place to stop it. Or as soon as you get out of the bomb zone.
Yeah, I'm trying to find where the other bomb went. Oh.
That big one right there?
No, the little one that just flew past. Ah, I missed it. The timer has slowed down for me.
Extremely agile glass of water.
I was not aware that the timer would just stop.
Well, Elite Haxor. Eight wonderful viewers! Woo!
It was 9 earlier.
Yeah, as soon as we get out of this, we will see you guys next time.
Yep. See y'all then.